Hello, everyone, and welcome to this 47th episode of 5 Minutes with NY Ike. I am Isaac Sacolick, or NY Ike on Twitter, and in this episode, I'm going to cover communication strategies for digital transformation leaders. I'm going to share 4 common mistakes and then go into 5 key focus areas around your communication strategy. Let's get started. So 4 areas that people make mistakes with communication start with the people that you communicate to on a regular basis. We use jargon, we communicate using tools that they don't use on a regular basis, and these have some simple fixes, right? Understand who your audience is, reduce the jargon, keep things to a simple language that everybody can understand, and try to embed your communications directly into tools that they're using on a day-to-day basis. Now, speaking of audiences and personas, one of those groups are your executives. You want to be able to communicate them frequently, and you want to make sure that you set realistic expectations with them. One way to do this is to set regular cadences on when you're communicating, whether it's weekly or monthly, whether you're including data or reports, or it's a video or an email, whatever it is, do it regularly. Number 2, keep it simple and always start with the business impact before getting into any details. And then make sure they understand where you're succeeding. What are your wins? Because every win is going to be followed by a speed bump, a hiccup, an issue, and you want to make sure that you communicate those regularly so that they're not surprised when there's an issue that's impacting the operations. So 4 areas to focus on and improving, and my suggestions on how to address these issues. I'm now going to go through 5 key areas that should be pillars in your communication strategies in digital transformation programs. So when I think about focus areas for digital transformation communication, I'm always going to start with the vision of what that digital transformation is trying to accomplish, what are all the initiatives, when are releases scheduled, and what are we actually trying to transform, the impacts that we're trying to make. What you're seeing here is the Star CIO vision statement template. It's a single page to communicate with the organization what the vision is for a transformation or an initiative underneath it. You can learn more about this vision statement at the URL starcio.com/vision-statement. And this is very important for organizational leaders to make sure that everybody is aligned and understanding of what impact and what areas of focus your transformation is trying to drive at. The second area goes into how you're communicating. And it's very important in transformation programs to share confidence about where you're going, what's the roadmap, what you're trying to accomplish, and then also just building general awareness. There's a lot of fear around the change that you're trying to drive at with your transformation, and building general awareness is one way to combat that. The third area is around your releases, particularly around your technology and data releases. For organizations investing in DevOps programs, you're trying to improve the frequency of those releases and shorten them. And that means you also have to increase the amount of communications that you're doing around them. When are the releases scheduled? What features are going out? What's the impact? How you're measuring feedback, and how you're sharing issues that come up after a release is completed. If you want to know more about release strategies, please see this blog post around increasing your deployment frequencies. You can see it at starcio.com/increase-deployment-frequency. Now, when you do a release and running things in production, there's always incidents that come up, and having the communications ready around who you're communicating to, what you're saying, how you're updating people when there's an issue is really important. You don't want to be figuring this out on the fly. There's enough stress with the engineering teams to resolve issues and then looking for root causes. So I always think that organizations that are trying to transform also need a strong communication policy and set of standards and focus areas so that when something goes wrong, we know how to communicate around them. And that becomes the first line of defense when things need to get resolved quickly. Lastly, I really think about how do we bring the right people into the conversations that we're having around transformation? If I'm having a brainstorming session on Wednesday, I want the right people there. If the product management organization's having a focus study, we want to make sure, again, we have the optimal people there. If there's an incident or a root cause analysis, I don't want an all hands on deck. I want the people who are most knowledgeable about the operations and systems to be participating around that. And that requires communications around escalations, around knowledge sharing, and around collaboration. So I think these are the 5 focus areas around communications in digital transformation programs. When you think about how you bring these communications, these who, where, what, why, when, and how, really good questions to answer within the body of your communications. So thank you today for your participation in this week's 5 Minutes with NY Ike. I hope you will subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in future episodes. Have a great day.